The Brick Hill Retrospective series you all know and love is getting a new episode premiering now. Today's episode features the 2021 Halloween event. The games are talked about, what happened around that time is talked about, and we enter an interactive discussion that you, the audience, can join in the comments below. Without further ado, here's this special episode of Brick Hill Retrospective, presented to you by SirStephen. Halloween of 2021 was without a doubt the most active Brick Hill has ever been in its entire life cycle. Around the time of the Halloween event, Roblox experienced a 3-day outage. Because of that happening, a lot of people found out about Brick Hill. To put into perspective how big of a few days span that was, here's my daily view chart for that day. And here it is for my channel's entire history. Yeah, it's gonna take a while for me to see success like that again. Halloween 2021 by many is seen as one of the most fun events Brick Hill has ever hosted. I personally believe it's an S-tier event next to Egg Hunt 2022. That year, Halloween provided not only an enjoyable game that, even though it was riddled with RNG-based gameplay, was still pretty enjoyable. There was a second game afterwards too, featuring a very fun escape-type game in a mansion. It also had over 30 different accessories that the player could collect. That was just the game portion of the event. The event also included a very fun pumpkin carving contest that had 16 winners and included 2 hats. One you get for participating and submitting a pumpkin, and one you get for being one of the 16 winners. Finally, there was an annual, in quotes, Halloween stream that featured giveaways, Q&As, and PSAs, namely new client announcements and such. Oh, and how could I forget the insane spike in activity that Brick Hill had, but we'll get to that soon. First, let's talk about the first game, one of the main treats this tricky event game gave us. Trick or Treat in Caveite Town. The account, Count Sponkbabber, who's been the main villain for many years, hosted the spooky set. The set was simple. You were in a small town that had a town center, a graveyard, a bunch of houses, and a castle. The goal was simple: knock on doors and profit. Every time you knocked at a door, you could get one of 6 NPCs. Candy Mouth, who gave you 1 candy.
1 candy? Do I have to do this 1,000 times to get all the items?
Candy Corn Eyes, who gave you 2 candies.
Hello. I like how they have candy on their face.
Candy Mouth's dad, who gave you 5 candies.
Okay.
Pumpkinhead, who gave you 10 candies.
Ooh, he has a pumpkin. Are you rich? 10 candies? Let's go. Actually balling right now.
Count Sponkbabber himself, who could take away 1 to 5 candies.
Oh, I tried to count Sponkbaber. Oh, I lost 2 candies. Okay. Like, imagine being a grown man and just taking candy from a child.
Or the very prestigious rich man who would generously provide you with 100 candies.
Ooh, the fedora guy. I got him. Nice.
However, that guy is extremely rare. Anyway, there were 3 different weeks in which this game would get updated. Every week, the candy limit increased. Week 1, the max was 1,000 candies. Week 2, the max was 3,000 candies, and week 3, the max was 5,000 candies. During every week, there was a rare chance that one of the house inhabitants gave you a present, meaning there were 3 presents in total.
I just got a present. Ooh.
There was an item given to you after every 250 candies obtained during week 1 and every 500 obtained during weeks 2 and 3. It sounds pretty difficult and confusing if you haven't played the event yourself, but you have to realize that basically all you do is knock on doors and get candy. Also, around the map were 3 eggs that would randomly spawn anywhere. Though this game was pretty repetitive and kind of boring, admittedly, I give it a solid 8 out of 10 rating. The gameplay could have been a lot better, but the sheer amount of items the game provided were incredible. Not to mention the lackluster gameplay this game had would be made up with the next game, Count Sponkbabber's Mansion Mayhem. Count Sponkbabber's Mansion Mayhem was released on the 4th week of the Halloween event. Despite this game releasing after Halloween ended, Brick Hill kept the deadly Halloween spirit very much alive entering November. The concept of this game was a little more complicated, though still pretty simple once you got to understand it. Upon a game beginning, one of the players would be selected to become Count Sponkbabber. The goal for the player selected as Count Sponkbabber was to capture all of the normal players, trap them inside of a cage, waiting for them to die, and repeating until all surviving players failed to escape. Successfully doing this gave you Count Sponkbabber's cape as well as Count Sponkbabber's attire. The goal, as a normal player however, is to escape Count Sponkbabber. The players were supposed to complete tasks, which was going on 5 computers and hacking them? All of the players had like 7 minutes to do this. It may sound like a game you might have heard of before. Anyway, those are just the main objectives. The game also had a few miscellaneous objectives. One of these was a super cool one, and I hope the people who played this event when it first released can agree with me. The objective I'm referring to is the Count Dregular objectives, where you had to find all 5 unlit candles around the map. Once you touch them, a blue flame would ignite. I do want to mention that I was one of the first couple of people to find these without a tutorial, and it was super fun, especially when I and the other players were collaborating to find these candles and unlock the secret blue door. It was just a really cool moment altogether. However, that's about it for the games. They were super fun, and honestly the second set that they made had a lot of replayability value in terms of Brick Hill standards, so I applaud the team that made that game. It was super fun, super well made, and super enjoyable. But anyway, let's talk about the pumpkin carving contest as well as the stream real quick. The pumpkin carving contest, which began on October 27th and ended on the 6th of November, was a quick miscellaneous event created to pack the Halloween 2021 event with more content. The objective was extremely obvious and self-explanatory and pretty simple. Create a cool pumpkin using any official or unofficial Brick Hill workshops. Spoiler alert, the 2 workshops that people used were basically just Brick Builder and the New Client. New Client builds are always cooler in my opinion anyway. Anyway, there were over 200 pumpkin submissions, only 16 winning. On screen now are my personal favorites that won. Super original and not just a simple carved pumpkin. Huge credit to the people on screen now. Oh, and here's my pumpkin submission that took me a while to make. I am genuinely surprised I did not win. But hey, I got the participation award. Anyway, the live stream. We're just gonna skim over it real quick because the live stream is publicly available on the Brick Hill YouTube channel right now. But it was actually pretty long and pretty exciting at the time of watching it live. There was live gameplay of the event game being played, a few Q&As, announcements including keychains, and an announcement announcing Player 2, a mobile client being worked on by Escha that obviously wasn't finished, and just new client update announcements. Just a whole bunch of announcements really, and those announcements were important. Brick Hill had just received the biggest influx of players ever, which brings us into our next section. The unexpected 3-day Roblox outage. This outage honestly couldn't have been better timed. While Brick Hill was having their most action-packed event to date up to that point, and arguably one of the most action-packed events ever created on Brick Hill, Roblox had gone down. Because of this multiple day maintenance period, a lot of people found out about Brick Hill. YouTubers were getting more views, TikToks were getting made, Twitter was blowing up, but most importantly, little old Brick Hill was gaining traction. A lot of it too. I showed the analytics of my channel from that day as an example of how much that affected Brick Hill, but let me show you what Google Trends looks like. If we look at the graph in the past 5 years of Brick Hill's popularity, we can see some spikes. Especially that one in June of 2019 when Kaneko Kitten made their videos on Brick Hill. Then we keep going. Once we reach the end of October 2021, yeah, pretty insane spike. The influx of players was both beneficial and low-key damaging to Brick Hill. It was really beneficial because it obviously gave the site a huge amount of publicity. I mean, the spikes literally speak for itself. Here's my live stream where I struggled to play the game purely because of how many players were in it. The game, which, by the way, apparently had over 600 players playing it at one point.
Okay, did I do /event help? Oh, okay, nice.
Obviously, that's a Brick Hill record. I don't even think botted games have reached that much concurrent visits. It's literally insane. The game, boasting over 31,000 visits, is the most visited game on Brick Hill, beating out what I believe is now the second most visited game on Brick Hill by over 3,000 visits. I was actually originally going to make an entire video dedicated to October 2021, where I talk about literally everything that has happened as a result of the Roblox outage in detail, though I decided to just make it a little segment in this Halloween 2021 retrospective, as I haven't made a retrospective in a while. With that being said, however, I'm going to start closing out this video. Halloween 2021, as most of us can agree, will for a long time be known as the biggest event on Brick Hill. Sadly, a massive portion of the players that joined during that time period are no longer on Brick Hill, and for pretty obvious reasons, as the client is pretty much unplayable, Though, Brick Hill can revive hope with a change in CEO and with these new events that continue to impress. Knowing Max, he definitely has not disappointed anyone, and I'm pretty sure of it. Anyway, I'm actually going to close out the video now. If you enjoyed, of course, do the usual, drop a like, subscribe, all of that, comment your opinions, everything. I love you all, and if you're hearing this, that means you stuck to the end, and I seriously appreciate it, and thank you. I'll see you guys in the next one, so peace out.